In this movie, I'll show you how to animate the text, and we'll also take advantage of tweening, that is Tweening, which allows you to automate effects between two keyframes. So I'm going to start off here by clicking on frame 5 inside the timeline, and then I'm going to scroll my way over here and shift-click on frame 16. It's going to be the easiest way to make this happen. And these are the frames that will contain the standard balloon. So go ahead and scroll to the top of the layers panel and turn on that balloon layer so that you're seeing the undistorted talk balloon. And then you want to turn on the very top squawk layer, the one that's an actual text layer. Now click on frame 15 in order to select it, turn off that text layer, and turn on the layer directly below it, the one that's starting to expand. Then click on frame 16, turn off that text layer at the top, and click on the layer that's 2 below it that represents the even larger version of the distorted text. Now I'll go ahead and scroll farther to the right, and I'll click on frame 17 and shift-click on frame 19. And notice 19 is the one that has the slight delay associated with it. So my reasoning is things should stay the same between these frames, and that's when we'd see the biggest text. My other reasoning was that we wanted time to read the text, that's very important of course, and that the bird should squawk during the downbeat of its wings, and then the text should fade away when he raises his wings. So those were just some creative decisions I made. Anyway, 17 through 19, make sure they're selected, and then scroll down the list until you can see the distorted balloon. You want to turn that on. Turn on the impact layer and also turn on the highly distorted version of the squawk text in order to produce this effect right here. Now we want to fade this text out. And the easiest way to do that is to take advantage of tweening. So I'll go ahead and click on frame 24 here in order to select it. So it's several frames ahead, as you can see. And then I'll turn those 3 layers back on. Same 3 layers as before. Click on squawk at the top, shift-click on balloon. So these are the squawk and balloon layers that surround the impact layer. And then you want to change the opacity to 0%, which you can do by just selecting the value, or you can type 00 2 times in a row on the keyboard. All right, now we've got a transparent version of those same layers. Now what you want to do is click on frame 19 and shift-click on frame 24. This is where the fade needs to occur. We've got 2 ways to tween. One is to tween everything, and the other is to tween discretely. If you want to tween everything, you just drop down to this little icon that says Tween's Animation Frames, and go ahead and click on it. But as you'll see here, that makes a fair mess of the other frames. So here's frame 20, here's frame 21. We're basically building up various opacity levels associated with the bird, and that is not what we want. And we're losing the flapping effect, by the way, as well. So we're just fading the bird across these frames. Obviously, that's not what you want to do. So go up to the Edit menu. The Undo command is now dimmed. Just go ahead and choose Step Backward, or you can press Control-Alt-Z or Command-Option-Z on the Mac to undo that effect. Click on frame 19 and shift-click on frame 24 once again. Then click on the flyout menu icon and choose the Tween command. Now, we've got to modify some settings here. Notice Tween Width is set to Selection. That is the selected frames, which is exactly what we want. However, layers is set to all layers. That's not what we want. We want selected layers, the selected layers here inside the layers panel. We also have 3 parameters to choose from. Position is useful if you have a layer that's in motion. That is, its actual physical XY coordinates change over time. That's not the case for us. We did all of our animation using layers, so you can go ahead and turn position off. Effects means layer effects. We don't have any of those either, so go ahead and turn that off. All we want is opacity. Notice what's missing here. Scale and rotate and puppet warp are not parameters that you can tween automatically. But opacity is, so that's great. Now go ahead and click OK in order to create the tween frames. And now if you click on frame 19, you'll see you've got opaque text. In frame 20, it's a little bit translucent. In frame 21, more translucent still. 22, 23. And then finally, it just completely disappears in frame 24. That's a little bit much for my taste. And the problem is that Photoshop is performing a linear tween. In other words, we're going from 100% opacity down to 80, and then 60, and then 40, and then 20, and then nothing. What we need is a little bit extra here in frame 24. So what I recommend you do is click on frame 24. Your layers should still be selected, and just go ahead and press the 1 key in order to increase the opacity to 10% like that. And now, to get a sense of what we've been able to accomplish here, you can press the space bar in order to play the animation. And you'll see squawk appear above the bird's head long enough to read it, and then it'll blow up and fade away. And that, folks, is at least one way to animate type and tween between frames here inside Photoshop.